part of the change during this election cycle was on the backs of black women. Can we give it up for black women real quick? We love black women. In fact, if we could have the loudest cheer today for black women. Thanks, Gregory. Thanks, Gregory. Next up is one of our next community leaders, one of the leaders in the community with Reclaim RI. And by the way, if any of y'all want to go up to these community leaders and get involved, that's why we're here today, right? Because, you know, although I'm Black Lives Matter, RI Pat, you have Prov DSA, you have someone running for governor, you have an activist in Rodney, you have a talk show host. We've just got so many people up here and we want to all work together. Next up, Ariel from Reclaim Rhode Island.
Hello everyone, can you hear me? I don't need a chair. I don't need a chair. I want us to first take a moment. We all come from different places, from different belief systems, upbringings, and backgrounds. But today we are all here for one moment, for one person, under the same belief that what happened to Daunte Wright was not simply unjust, it was cruel. Brooklyn Center Police Chief Tom Gannon said that this murder appears to be from an accidental discharge. Accidental is defined as happening by chance, unintentionally or unexpectedly. Accidental is slipping into a puddle, getting a paper cut, or dropping a vase. Accidental is not killing someone at a routine traffic stop for charges the police accidentally sent to the wrong address. And I ask you, was it an accident when the PPD shot out the eye of a civilian earlier last year? Was it an accident when the police drove their cruisers into protesters' bodies last August? Was the beating of Joshua Robinson, also at a traffic stop, by the PPD in 2013 an accident? Was the circling, chasing, and then slamming of police cruisers into Jamal's body last year an accident? None of these horrific incidents are accidents. These are purposeful, intentional acts of violence. This violence comes from a system that was created to brutalize, to beat, to dominate black and brown bodies. This system was no accident. These occurrences are not incidental. I don't know about you all, but I'm tired of air fresheners, hoodies, broken taillights, counterfeit bills, excusing and justifying the execution of black lives. I'm tired of our lives being reduced to a token, to a hashtag, a moment dependent on the incompetence of officers not knowing their right from their left, whose mistakes are enough to justify murder. I am tired. I'm tired of poor people being criminalized when a system that creates poverty is a real crime. I'm tired of people telling us how and when we can grieve, but not giving us a moment to breathe in between tragedy and tragedy. I'm tired of our lives being a series of tragedies. When will they stop reducing our lives to happenstance? If it isn't an accidental discharge, it is because a white supremacist is having a really bad day. All excuses are extensions of state violence and white supremacy at work. Diversifying the police force, de-escalation tactics, independent investigations will not change the inherently violent nature of the police. so many fights right now. We're fighting a pandemic, ridiculous political fights amongst elites that don't address working class conditions, climate change, migrant crises, and obviously persistent systemic racism. Suffocating conditions that we can't break with collective power. What is an accident is that they think that we would have become demoralized by now and not fight back. They think we wouldn't mobilize, organize, protest, and call for no more. Racial justice, as my good girl Kimberly said, cannot come without economic justice, environmental justice, health justice, housing justice. It just is. And this is what we're gonna do. I'm almost done. Thank you, everyone. They say it is a radical notion to defund the police. Yet they have been defunding public services, education, healthcare facilities for years. They say it is a radical notion to defund the police, but they seem to think that we are a people, a generation who are scared of words like radical or change, but instead we embrace it. We need to build power for Black and brown communities and all people who don't have enough because very few have way too much. We need to bring money and resources out of the hands of elites and into communities who need it most. There are fights for power happening in Rhode Island, across the country, and the world every single day, and we need to take them on. We can't just demand change. We must fight to take power into our own hands with hearts full of love. And I'm going to end on a quote. Power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love. Join us or get the fuck out of our way.
Y'all heard that, right? Next up, I don't need them. Is this on?
No.
I turned it off, I think.
See, Mike dropped it. Hello? Here we go. That was the ultimate mic drop. That's what I said.